Diddy's trial begins. A missing witness threatens to derail the case against the music mogul. Imagine a music icon, once untouchable, now facing a courtroom showdown that could end with life in prison. Sean "Diddy" Combs, the man behind Bad Boy Records and decades of chart-topping hits, is in the fight of his life as his sex trafficking trial kicks off in Manhattan. But just as jury selection began on May 5, 2025, a bombshell dropped. Prosecutors can't find a key witness, known only as Victim 3, whose explosive testimony could make or break the case. With the clock ticking and the world watching, this missing woman's absence raises chilling questions. Why can't they reach her? What does her silence mean for Diddy's fate? And what does this trial reveal about power, privilege, and justice in the post-Me Too era? Join us as we unravel the high-stakes drama of Diddy's trial, diving into the allegations, the mystery of Victim 3, and the seismic impact of a mogul's fall from grace. The trial's chaotic start, jury selection, and a missing witness. On May 5, 2025, the federal sex trafficking trial of Sean "Diddy" Combs began in a Manhattan courtroom, marking the early stages of a case that's already one of the most watched in recent memory. Nearly 36 New Yorkers were questioned about their knowledge of the allegations, sifting through a list of locations and celebrity names tied to the case. By May 7th, jury selection was still underway, with opening statements slated for Monday, May 12th. But amid the procedural grind, a major snag emerged. Prosecutors admitted they couldn't contact a critical witness identified in the indictment as Victim 3. Lead prosecutor Maureen Comey, addressing U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian, revealed the troubling issue. Victim 3, an unnamed woman who reportedly planned to testify under her real name despite the option of a pseudonym, holds very personal and explosive details about alleged abuse she suffered at Combs' hands. Yet, Comey told the judge the prosecution has been unable to reach the woman's attorney, leaving them uncertain whether she'd even appear in court if subpoenaed. This revelation, reported by NBC News, sent ripples through the case, highlighting potential vulnerabilities in the prosecution's strategy. The defense, led by attorney Tinny Garagos, didn't miss a beat. Garagos pressed the court for clarity, requesting a firm answer by May 9th on whether Victim 3 would testify. The demand underscores the defense's strategy: exploit any cracks in the prosecution's case to cast doubt on the allegations. With jury selection nearing its end and the trial's momentum building, Victim 3's absence looms large, threatening to undermine the narrative prosecutors are crafting against Combs. The charges: a mogul accused of monstrous crimes. At 55, Combs faces a 5-count indictment that paints a damning picture of his empire. Charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution, he's accused of orchestrating a decades-long scheme to exploit women. Prosecutors allege Combs used his business empire, Bad Boy Entertainment, his clothing line, and his vast network to coerce women into drug-fueled sex parties known as freak-offs. These events, they claim, were meticulously planned, with Combs keeping recordings to blackmail victims into silence and using violence to ensure compliance. If convicted, he faces life in prison. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges, vehemently denying any wrongdoing. His defense argues that the encounters were consensual, portraying the alleged victims as unreliable witnesses motivated by personal gain or vendettas. They framed the case as a witch hunt, accusing prosecutors of overreaching to take down a powerful black entrepreneur. This narrative taps into broader debates about race, justice, and celebrity, setting the stage for a trial that's as much about public perception as legal evidence. The indictment identifies 4 alleged victims: Victim 1, Victim 2, Victim 3, and Victim 4, all expected to testify. Victim 1 is widely believed to be Cassandra Ventura, known as Cassie, Combs' ex-girlfriend whose 2023 lawsuit triggered a wave of accusations. Ventura's claims of physical abuse, sexual coercion, and manipulation closely mirror the indictment's allegations, and she's confirmed to testify under her real name. Victim 3, however, remains a mystery, her elusive status fueling speculation and concern. Victim 3, the ghost at the heart of the case. Victim 3's absence is the trial's early flashpoint. Described as holding explosive details, her testimony could be pivotal, potentially detailing specific acts of abuse or coercion that bolster the prosecution's racketeering claims. Her reported decision to use her real name suggests a willingness to confront Combs publicly, a brave choice in a case steeped in fear and intimidation. Yet her sudden unavailability raises troubling questions. Has she gone into hiding? Is she reconsidering her role in the trial? Or, as some online voices speculate, has something more sinister occurred? Posts on X have amplified the drama, with users claiming Victim 3 is missing and suggesting her testimony could unravel Combs' defense. These claims, while unverified, reflect public fascination with the case and the stakes for all involved. Prosecutors' inability to contact her attorney adds to the uncertainty, hinting at communication breakdowns or deeper issues. Comey's admission that they're unsure Victim 3 would appear, even with a subpoena, underscores the fragility of relying on a reluctant or unreachable witness. Critically, Victim 3's absence could weaken the prosecution's case. Sex trafficking trials often hinge on victim testimony, as physical evidence can be scarce. If Victim 3 doesn't testify, prosecutors may struggle to prove the pattern of coercion and violence central to the racketeering charge. The defense, already poised to challenge the credibility of all accusers, could seize on this gap, arguing that the prosecution's narrative is incomplete or exaggerated. Jericho's push for a May 9th deadline signals their intent to keep the pressure on, forcing prosecutors to clarify their strategy or risk looking unprepared. Diddy's empire, from hip-hop king to accused predator. To understand the trial's weight, you have to grasp Combs' legacy. Rising from Harlem in the 1990s, he founded Bad Boy Records, launching stars like the Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige. His entrepreneurial flair, spanning music, fashion with Sean John, and spirits with Ciroc, made him a cultural force, amassing a fortune estimated at $1 billion. His lavish parties, star-studded events, and larger-than-life persona defined an era of hip-hop excess. But behind the glitz, allegations of abuse and exploitation simmered, surfacing in lawsuits and whispers long before his September 2024 arrest. Ventura's 2023 lawsuit was the catalyst, alleging years of physical and sexual abuse. Her claims, settled out of court, inspired other accusers, including Gina Hewing and an unnamed woman alleging assault in 1991. By 2024, federal investigations intensified, culminating in Combs' arrest on September 16. Raids on his Los Angeles and Miami homes uncovered evidence, including alleged recordings of freak-offs. Prosecutors say these events involved women coerced into sex acts under the influence of drugs, with Combs wielding his power to silence them. The defense counters that these were consensual, high-flying parties typical of celebrity culture, not crimes. Combs' public image has taken a hit. Once a symbol of black excellence, he now faces comparisons to figures like R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein, accused of using wealth and influence to prey on vulnerable women. His courtroom demeanor, described as nervous, nodding, or shaking his head during jury selection, contrasts with his polished past, hinting at the personal toll of the case. Yet, his son's presence at court and his legal team's aggressive stance show he's fighting to reclaim his narrative. The prosecution's challenge: building a case. Without Victim 3. Maureen Comey, a seasoned prosecutor, faces a daunting task. The indictment's 5 counts require proving not just isolated acts, but a systemic pattern of criminal behavior. Racketeering, the most serious charge, demands evidence of an ongoing enterprise, in this case, Combs' business empire, used to commit crimes like sex trafficking. Victim three's testimony, with its promised explosive details, could tie these threads together, showing how Combs allegedly orchestrated abuse across years and locations. Without victim three, the prosecution must lean on Ventura and the other two victims, whose credibility the defense is already attacking. Ventura's history with Combs, spanning a decade-long relationship, makes her a compelling witness, but her settled lawsuit could be framed as financially motivated. Victims 2 and 4, whose identities remain undisclosed, face similar scrutiny. Prosecutors also plan to use security footage, not the widely seen 2016 hotel assault video involving Ventura, but an unreleased version, along with witness accounts and physical evidence from the raids. Victim three's absence isn't just a logistical issue, it's a strategic blow. Her reported willingness to testify openly suggested a powerful, unfiltered account that could sway jurors. If cajoling or other pressures are keeping her away, a possibility raised in online discussions, though unproven, it could fuel defense claims of a shaky case. Comey's team must now decide whether to proceed without her, risking gaps in their narrative, or double down on finding her, potentially delaying the trial. The defense's playbook: doubt and deflection. Combs' legal team, including Garagos and Mark Agnifilo, is playing hardball. Their strategy is clear: undermine the accusers, question the evidence, and frame the case as a vendetta against a successful black man. Garagos' push for a victim three deadline is a tactical move, forcing prosecutors to show their hand early. The defense has already stirred controversy, with a lawyer close to the team admonished by Judge Subramanian for racially charged remarks about the prosecution's six-pack of white women. The incident, which led to a private reprimand, highlights the defense's willingness to play the race card, a risky but potentially effective tactic in a polarized climate. By arguing the freak-offs were consensual, the defense taps into cultural debates about celebrity lifestyles. They'll likely portray Combs as a product of hip-hop's hedonistic era, where lavish parties were the norm, not crimes. This narrative could resonate with jurors skeptical of prosecutorial overreach, especially if the accuser's testimonies falter. Victim three's absence gives the defense an opening to argue that the prosecution's case is built on shaky ground, with missing witnesses undermining the alleged pattern of abuse. Public reaction. A divided court of opinion. The trial has ignited fierce debate online and beyond. On X, posts range from concern for victim three's safety to skepticism about the prosecution's motives. Some users hail Combs as a victim of systemic bias, pointing to his status as a black mogul targeted by a largely white legal system. Others see him as a predator finally facing justice, with victim three's absence fueling speculation about intimidation or worse. These sentiments, while unverified, reflect the case's emotional weight, echoing the Me Too movement's reckoning with powerful men. The public's split mirrors broader divides. Supporters, including Combs' family and loyal fans, view the trial as a smear campaign, bolstered by his son's courthouse appearances. Critics, galvanized by Ventura's lawsuit in the Me Too era, demand accountability, seeing Combs as emblematic of unchecked privilege. This polarization will likely shape juror perceptions as the selected panel, 12 New Yorkers with varied backgrounds, grapples with a case steeped in fame, race, and morality. The broader context: celebrity accountability in 2025 Combs trial is a flashpoint in the ongoing reckoning with celebrity power. The Me Too movement, sparked in 2017, toppled figures like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, exposing how wealth and influence can shield abuse. Combs' case, with its allegations of systemic exploitation, fits this pattern, but adds new layers: the intersection of race, the role of cultural norms in hip-hop, and the challenges of prosecuting decades-old claims. Victim three's absence underscores a recurring issue in such cases: victims' reluctance to testify due to fear, trauma, or distrust of the system. The trial also highlights the legal system's limits. Sex trafficking cases are notoriously hard to prove, requiring clear evidence of coercion and intent. Prosecutors must navigate a fine line, presenting Combs as a calculating predator without alienating jurors who may see him as a cultural icon. The defense, meanwhile, can exploit gaps like Victim 3's absence to sow doubt, a tactic that worked in high-profile acquittals like R. Kelly's early trials. The outcome will shape how future cases against powerful figures are pursued, especially in the black entertainment industry. What's next for the trial? As jury selection wraps, the trial's next phase, opening statements on May 12th, will set the tone. Prosecutors must deliver a compelling narrative, weaving Ventura's testimony, the other victims' accounts, and physical evidence into a cohesive story of abuse. Victim 3's status remains the wild card. If she surfaces, her testimony could be a game-changer, offering the explosive details promised. If she doesn't, Comey's team faces an uphill battle, relying on the remaining victims and circumstantial evidence to prove a pattern. The defense will counter with a narrative of consent and persecution, challenging every accuser's motives and the prosecution's evidence. Geragos and Agnifilo, seasoned attorneys, know how to play to jurors' emotions, especially in a case with racial and cultural undertones. Judge Subramanian, described as fair but firm, will keep a tight rein, ensuring the trial doesn't devolve into a media circus. For Combs, the stakes couldn't be higher. A conviction would end his career and legacy, cementing his fall from hip-hop royalty to convicted felon. An acquittal or even a hung jury could bolster his narrative of victimhood, though public opinion may never fully recover. Victim 3's role, whether she testifies or stays silent, will be pivotal, shaping the trial's trajectory and its place in the Me Too saga. Lessons from the case. The trial's early chaos, Victim 3's absence, the defense's bold moves, the public's fervor, offers lessons about justice and power. It reminds us that victims' voices, while central to accountability, are often fragile, shaped by trauma and external pressures. It shows how fame can both amplify and distort allegations, turning a courtroom into a cultural battleground. And it underscores the challenge of prosecuting systemic abuse when evidence is murky and emotions run high. For trans youth, like Kai Schreiber in our previous story, visibility is about claiming identity. For victims like Victim 3, it's about reclaiming agency. Both face scrutiny, yet their courage to speak or choose silence reshapes narratives. Combs' trial, like Kai's journey, is a mirror to society's values, forcing us to confront who we believe, who we protect, and why. Final thoughts. Sean Diddy. Combs' trial is more than a legal showdown, it's a reckoning with power, privilege, and truth. As prosecutors scramble to find Victim 3, the world watches, waiting to see if her voice will tip the scales. Her absence speaks as loudly as her potential testimony, a haunting reminder of the barriers to justice. Whether Combs walks free or faces a cell, this case will leave a mark, challenging us to rethink how we hold icons accountable. What do you think? Will Victim 3 show up to testify, or is her silence a sign of deeper issues? Can prosecutors overcome this setback, or will Diddy's defense prevail? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. If this deep dive into a mogul's downfall gripped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more celebrity and true crime stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.